Okay, let's all say it together now. That was a bad loss.
That was a bad loss. Have we done the research to find out how many NBA teams have lost when one of their players scored 62?
I did that research last night, Patrick.
Okay.
So in the last 30 years, so the reason I cut it off at 30 years is because if you go back like 40 or 50 years, Wilt Chamberlain kind of clouds
if you
it.
go to Wilt, he scored 60. He averaged 50 one year. So
Wilt is like if you cut it off. So I just went back the last 30 years. And by the way, we had two 60-point scorers last night because Joel Embiid dropped 70 in their win.
Yes, I was watching the end of that and then switched over. So,
yes.
By the way, the last two, it was like the All-Star game. They just parted and let him lay it in to get to 70, the opponents. So they on Embiid. But
so here's the stat.
How many?
34 60-point performances over the last 30 years. This was only the fifth time that team has lost.
Wow. Yeah.
Cat also became the third 60-point scorer over that stretch to finish with a plus-minus of 0 or worse. And the second...
What was his plus-minus?
It was 0. It was exactly break even. We'll come back to that. And then he was the second one in 30 years to score 60 points and also turn the ball over 7 or more times.
Wow. Now, is he also the first guy to score 60 and have his coach come in with utter disgust about the way the team played? Finchie was unbelievable. I don't know if he's going to last. I don't know if, either his mental health is going to be lost or somebody's going to say you're not being positive enough for this team. But this is about 5 straight games that he's ripped them, right?
He's disgusted by them right now.
Yes. Yeah. He's down on them. But how do they, it's a mentality. You got Charlotte coming in. They've won 9 games all year and they got guys hurt. So you don't have to play. It's like Timberwolves all-time history. We don't have to, we don't have to play tonight. And it was, and then Cat's getting his, I didn't watch the whole thing because I was watching some of Embiid, but when I got back over there, Cat's scoring, and by the way, then the other team's coming down and scoring too. What good does it do if Cat's getting 60 and you're letting third guys just score every time he does? It's terrible. I don't know. What do you think?
It was pathetic. It was a perfect encapsulation of Karl's career, which is he is talented enough to go off and score 60 points, and not a lot of guys in NBA history can do that. But he also has all these quirks and flaws where he'll score 60 points, and on the same night, he'll turn the ball over 7 times. He'll play no defense. He'll crash his way into 4 defenders at the end of a game, and the flailing and the emotions.
He did get hacked.
He did, but Pat, when he's going in flailing in arms, it's like, dude, give them a chance to call a foul.
They don't like him, but here's my deal: you're playing a lousy team, and a guy's got 60 points, and he goes to the basket and gets hacked, and you're not going to call it. You're not going to call it. That, to me, is unbelievable. This might be the only guy in the league that doesn't get that call on a night he has 60 points at home against a bad team. If it's the other way around, for 1,000 years, the Timberwolves were bad. They went on the road. They had a team beat. You hacked somebody, they called it. So it was unbelievable that he didn't. He should have gotten teed up. He should have told them to go bleep themselves. So,
but as Finch said, Pat, you know what? We got what we deserved. I think he was actually happy they didn't get the call because the second half, my God, what was that? So if Mike Conley, who's an old guy who does get hurt, if Mike Conley doesn't play, this team is basically last year's team.
Yes, yeah. That's what we've been talking about all along is what happens if he's unavailable. And he's not going to play 75 games at his age. He came in last year and he's an Iron Man. He played all the time, but he'd already missed a bunch of games at Utah. So if he doesn't play, they're children again. They're children again. But Ant got 11 assists. Yeah, wow. 8 of them were passes to Cat that you or I could have made that he hit a 3 on. He's a bum too down the stretch, in my opinion. He's a idiot. He does stupid things down the stretch, holds the ball, and dribbles into triple teams. He's the 11 assists. The NBA gives you an assist. If you throw the ball to a guy and he takes 2 dribbles and shoots a 3, you get an assist. So,
well, he also, after the game, I think Ant had of all the just ridiculous quotes and things, Ant said, they kind of asked him about, hey, what happened? Did you guys get too caught up in trying to get Cat the 70 points, whatever it was? And he said, yeah, when he got it going early, we were trying to feed him and see if he could score 100 points. They were literally thinking about trying to get Cat 100 points instead of just winning the game.
Yeah, beating Charlotte. It's that's the kind of game they would have lost last year. So we can now say that. Has ever a crowd left an arena as disgusted after watching somebody score 62 points? It's what's funny is Philadelphia was fighting to win the last 4 minutes when he got 70 because they were doing the same thing. They were they wanted the other team to score fast so they could come down and get 2 more points for Embiid. But it was a horrible loss, and I don't know what are we gonna do with what's Finchy gonna do? Have they stopped listening? Have they stopped listening? Because this is about 3, 4, 5 straight games he's gone off.
I mean, it's weird because right after the game's over, Anthony Edwards and a couple other players they're telling you what happened. The way that Finch is, they're saying, that was really immature. Anthony Edwards said it was immature as bleep, and they know, but so they know right away after the game is over what they did wrong. So why do they keep having these blips lately? Is the question.
Well, and it's funny how we got the chemistry between Gobert and Towns and everything's all smooth. Well, that can change in 24 hours. You just find now all of a sudden everybody's at shoot around or practice today staring at everybody. Who screwed this game up? Who cost us this game? And by the way, they don't have that much scoring. They don't have that much scoring. McDaniels isn't a scorer. They got Edwards and Cat. That's who they're short offensively. Connolly has hit some threes, but lately, before last night when he didn't play, but he's the other night when they got beat, he missed 3-4 wide open threes against Oklahoma City in the fourth quarter when they basically said shoot the ball. We want you to take this shot, and he missed it. So if he's not making, there's now pressure on him to actually make shots because they don't have that much offense. They don't have that much firepower. Nas is, when Nas is having a good night, you got some firepower. When he's throwing in threes and doing that, but I don't know what's the solution. Play Nas on a night like last night when Rudy's doing nothing. Play Nas more with him. I don't know. I guess
Nas does deserve more minutes. The ballsy thing would have been halfway through the fourth quarter when that lead was dwindling down and Karl was just going into business for himself. Yeah. It would have been to pull Karl with like 7 minutes to go instead of. They did pull him on a couple of possessions late.
Sit him for 3 minutes there and then put him back in or something, like you do. But it's I would think, what it's time for? A players only meeting. We need a players only meeting to get. Look what we were making fun of the Wild's players only meeting. Now look what happened. They won 2 games in a row. We need more players only meetings.
How many players only meetings have the Wild had this year? It was just the.
I think there's 3 now.
Three.
And three's a lot in a season.
And I think it's 4 with the GM cussing them out.
If anybody but Conley speaks at that players only meeting, they're in trouble because there's not a lot of brain power in that room. Kyle Anderson, give me a break. He's terrible. He was good last year. He's terrible. He does nothing for you. He can't make a basket. He slowed everything. He's having a horrible year.
I'm not blaming him for last night. Poor Kyle. He doesn't deserve this. We need to dump on the guys that deserve it. I'm just blaming him
for their lack of depth, their lack of scoring. We talk about it being a deep team. Well, if the coach believed it was a deep team, he'd play more than 8 guys.
Okay, here's another question in terms of like a pie chart of blame for last night. All these people who are, well, what's Karl scored 63 points, like, or whatever it was, 62, 63 points. What else is he supposed to do? Score 70, score 75? Well, I would ask you, okay, basketball is a two-way sport where you're on the court for offense and defense.
Yes. 63
points and a 0 plus minus?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Yeah, well, you don't guard anybody at the other end, of course.
And you turn the ball over 7 times.
He had help not guarding anybody, so it was. Well, they're 0-2 in the second half. Couldn't they go 11-30 in the second half and end up 500? Is that a possibility? I don't think so. But
they're ultimately still going to be one of the top 3 or 4 seeds in the Western Conference. But yeah,
they are. But that one's it will be odd. Will they? What's the attitude coming out of that game though? Is it okay, boys? We're not going to do this again, or this is us? Are we going to stop playing defense? Because we were, the Finch through most of the first half of the season was crediting defense more than offense with their outstanding record. But
so this being the Wolves, you guys know exactly how this plays out, right? Game 1 of the playoffs, Conley turns his ankle, goes out, and it turns into just a free-for-all of immaturity, and they get bounced in the first round as a very high seed.
Let's go get Tyus.
They really do need to go get somebody behind him.
He's available. Washington sucks. I don't know who you give them.
It would have to be Kyle Anderson plus. But the other thing is, like, other teams are going to want Tyus Jones because he's good. Yeah. So I don't know that the Wolves have they can't trade a first-round pick now.
They can't trade a first-round pick, because they've traded. They can't trade another first-round pick for 6 years, right?
They'd have to get a third team involved where they send expiring junk to this team that needs it, and then that team sends a first-round pick.
There's no reason for the Wizards to hang on to Tyus. He's got to go somewhere. I mean, what are the Wizards trying to do? Tyus wouldn't have helped much last night because they were watching the other guy shoot layups. So but you need another guard. I mean, McLaughlin's been doing okay, but he's not 34 minutes. If Conley can't play, you can't play him 34 minutes. You can play Tyus 34 minutes if you get him in here. You're going to need another point guard because you can't put that kind of load on a 37-year-old guy. So
yeah, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker he's not a point guard. He's not a point guard. Anthony Edwards
he's definitely
should not be the point guard.
As I said the other day, he hasn't won many cousin games, one-on-one cousin games. He finished second at the family reunion a lot.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he's a good player.
I think he finished second at the family reunion quite often.
Against Shea.
Yeah, against Shea.
Yeah, Shea wins that one. Yeah,
yes,
going away.
Yeah, he wins that one. But it is, they got beat by Oklahoma City, and I said this yesterday. Oklahoma City played terrible. That's as bad as they can play, and Oklahoma City beat them in a slugfest. And now you turn around and you lose to. Is this their first loss to a terrible team?
They've lost to this is the third below 500 team they've lost to.
This is but is this the first tanker that they've lost to? There's the below 500s, and then there's the 4 or 5 tankers.
This was their worst loss, I think, in terms of opponent record. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, anyway, it was. I guess what the problem is, it's kind of like the Twins last season. You see them lousy for 1/80th of the season, and you go, wow, they stink. I mean, I was as guilty as that anybody, but we do react. We do react to one lousy performance in basketball more often than we should, probably.
Yeah,
So,
and I think as you saw last night was also it was the anniversary of Kobe dropping 81 on the Raptors all those years ago. And then Joel Embiid. I think sometimes in the middle of January, guys just get kind of bored. Kobe one night was just like, I'm going to drop 81 points tonight because it's January,
Yeah. Yeah, and Embiid was. I mean, they were. I was watching I think it must have been on NBA channel. I don't know what I was watching it, but they were talking about Kobe 81, and like it was in everybody's mind that the Kobe. This was the date Kobe scored 81. No, it wasn't.
Well, Embiid's favorite player as a kid was Kobe, so he might have actually known going into the game. I don't think Cat was thinking about that last night.
No, Cat was. He got a little carried away the fourth quarter, but Ant still drives me crazy. Stop. Come up the top of the key and stop and hold the ball. Do something. It's he's pretty much. I'm pretty much gonna throw it out there pretty soon. Overrated. I haven't thrown it out there on Twitter yet. Ant, overrated. But
I thought you said a column.
I'm getting close.
Yeah, put it in the strip.
Put it in the column. 22-inch column. Ant, overrated. Oh my God.
Yes, right. Yeah. They would. And how about he's more overrated than Kirk Cousins? That's what you could say. You could start with that.
We could on the. I don't think Ant fits this category as much as Carl does, but you talk about empty calorie statistics in this town. Dropping 63 points in a losing effort and a 0± Kirk Cousins throwing for 4,000 yards a year, one playoff win in 6 years.
Yeah, that's dangerous territory. So we're all waiting for Joe to see if indeed the early half of the numbers holds up and that he's in the Hall of Fame. I was talking to Jake, his brother Jake, and their first car. The first car that three boys had was a rebuilt 10-year-old. It was the grandpa. They lived in grandpa's house, the family, and they had a rebuilt old 10-year-old Buick or not a Buick. It was something else that with a rebuilt engine, and that's the first car the three teenage sons had to drive around back in the day, and you think of Joe getting 184 million, and then the Maurer name is so famous in St. Paul that people don't realize the background of this kid. This is as blue collar as it gets. And I was talking to Jimmy O'Neill, his baseball coach, and Jimmy's trying to figure out the exact addresses of the 4 Hall of Famers that they're going to be if Joe makes it, and. I think Jack Morris was the farthest away from Dunning Field over there behind Central, which was the big field, and that's about 2 miles. Everybody else Winnie was across the street, and Joe was within a mile, and Molly was a half a mile or something like that. So this isn't 4 guys coming from St. Paul. This is 4 guys coming from here in St. Paul. Nobody up over on the east side or anything. It's the same. They're all dang near the same neighborhood, and that's what's incredible about it. Jimmy says, Jimmy O'Neill, he saw this somewhere. He did a research. 9 high schools have had 2 Hall of Famers or more. 9 high schools in the United States.
Wow.
And some of them, L.A. and New York and places, but there's only 9. Creighton will become the only the second high school, only the 9th high school in the United States to have 2 Hall of Famers. So,
wow. That's awesome. Yeah, that's going to happen today. We're gonna do a Score North Twin show, assuming that he gets in later on today. So
later on today, yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, it's he's there's now the 3 Maurer boys now have 10 grandkids, and they're all 1 year apart. I mean, the twins are obviously Joe's twins are the same age, but they're all like boom, 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 and the sad news is Jake's got a couple of hockey players, so his life is now, Jake and his wife his life is now ruined. One of them was in Cloquet last week. The other was in Mankato for tournaments, and they're chasing hockey players around. And Joe has built himself a hockey rink at his place. So Joe's playing hockey all the time, and he gets a bunch of his Cretan buddies out there to play hockey, and Joe's the best hockey player too. In the
of course he is. Yeah,
best player. He probably. I said, have we ever had we've had a lot of combo athletes in the spring, track and baseball, and stuff like that. I wonder if we've ever had a hockey basketball player in the
I don't think we have. Yeah, we never. Where you take the blades off and go hit the second half of the basketball game.
Right over. Yeah, that'd be a little difficult. But that would be a little difficult. But it is, it's a great St. Paul story. And I remember when the Hall of, we had 3 St. Paul guys when the All-Star game was here played from in '85. Morris, Winnie, and Molly were all on the team. We're all in the All-Star game. And was it Uberoff was the commissioner then, I think.
Yeah,
Uberoff.
Peter Uberoff.
And he was, and this was the big thing was that the Today Show wanted to be over in St. Paul, and I was working the St. Paul paper then, and they wanted to be on that landing down there. They're going to do the show, and then Minneapolis raised hell, and they didn't have it there. And so Uberoth said, who's from out of town here? He said to us, there's about 8 of us around there. And I said, me, I'm from St. Paul. So it's, the only way St. Paul was represented in that All-Star game was on the field, So.
Yep. Well, when it happens, we might hit you up later today and see if you're free to jump on the Score and Twin show.
I will be home, and if I answer the phone, sometimes sometimes the mind gets full of other things, and I miss calling it. So
that's okay. Anyway. We'll call your secrecary and we'll have her pass.
Hey, congratulations, Kat! It's 62. Don't let them demean you, Kat. Just because you ended up pissing away that game. So anyway, all right,
Pat. Thanks, we'll talk to you. That's Reusse Unchained, presented by Josh Arnold Investments here on Score North.